There was basically men clamoring at the ticket counter to get tickets. This was kind of a risque show in this area, and I just remember them pounding on the ticket booth, "Can't I get a ticket? Can't I get a ticket?" And I just thought, oh my God, that's amazing. But it was so much fun. And it was also about 100 degrees, and we had no air conditioning. So it was a good thing we were all kind of dressed very scantily.
Faye Storms landed in the Catskills just a few years after the Shandaken Theatrical Society was founded in 1976, and she's been part of its story ever since. Her memories trace the long arc of STS and its home at the Phoenicia Playhouse, a community stage with a history of its own, in the 1800s serving as a lodge for the Independent Order of Oddfellows. Faye is one of several voices you'll hear today as the Shandaken Theatrical Society celebrates its 50th anniversary. When we visited, members of Woodstock Fringe were deep in rehearsal for Songs Mostly of the Theater, a stroll down a dusty musical road, starring Wallace Norman. That's Wallace Norman singing, with Hank Neimark directing. Hank's a retired television director who's found a lively second act in regional theater. I'm Brett Barry, and this is Catscast, the Catskills podcast.
Well, you don't ever really retire. I started this relationship with Performing Arts of Woodstock. That was just happenstance. Somebody needed a director to do a play. Hey, how'd you like to do a play? Here's your cast, here's the play. It turned out the play was a big hit. And so now I'm directing up here in my advanced dotage. And there's talent up here like crazy. I mean, really wonderful actors. They're sitting next to me right now. His name is Wallace.
Wallace, did you come from a theatrical background career-wise, or is this something else?
I started training, I guess, in my early 20s in New York City at HB Studios. I studied at the London Academy of Dramatic Arts. I was involved for several decades in the off-Broadway arena. I call myself a denizen of the off-Broadway scene.
As the denizen of off-Broadway, would you consider the Phoenicia Playhouse how many offs?
If you bring a certain sensibility to your work, wherever you do it. When off-Broadway was in its heyday, it was taken very seriously in the intelligent life of the city.
To your point, Hank, that there's a lot of very creative people here in the Catskills who find each other through theater and other creative arts. Can you talk a little bit about that and your experience?
Well, when I first came up here in 1991, it was because there was a play going on and somebody asked me if I wanted to be in it. And I said, yes, I came up here and I stayed. But yeah, when you go to the various community theaters in the Hudson Valley, we've got the Bridge Street Theater in Catskill. We've got Phoenicia Playhouse. Ellenville has that wonderful theater. Shadowlands, yeah, really wonderful. Two theaters, actually, when you consider the Black Box Theater. It's a drawing card for talent. And when you send out the word that we're doing, that a show is being done, it's amazing the people who come up. I just finished a show for Performing Arts of Woodstock, and the auditions, so many people showed up. 97% of them were wrong for all the roles, but when you watched them and saw them read and saw them audition, you said, my God, this is fantastic. This is wonderful talent. And it's not just ready to burst out. There's work here.
What's the relationship of Woodstock Fringe to this theater or to the Shandaken Theatrical Society?
Well, we've been collaborating now for years. Back in 2016, I directed a production of Proof here, a series of play readings. And then 2 years ago, we did my play called Brother's Keeper, and that was a co-production. And this is a co-production. They take really good care of us, and we take good care of them. So it's been a very happy collaboration.
And I saw Brother's Keeper, and it was heartbreaking and wonderful. Did you write that?
Yes, I did. Thank you. It only took 8 years. It started out as a conventional play with 8 actors, and over a long development period, it morphed into a one-person play. with 13 characters, all played by me.
Tell me a little bit about the collaboration. What makes it so good working here in this theater?
Well, they're just such great hosts. They take care of everything. And they're smart, able, and...
The venue is just perfect. It's, got this old rickety old theater feel, but it also feels very homey. It's very open, very welcoming, very, what do you need? It's not a matter of, well, I don't know, we can't do that. We'll have to get lights. We have to do this. We'll have to get more people. We'll have to get some union people to move pianos in. None of that. It's very open, very welcoming, and very easy to work here.
The current board and the staff have become ambitious artistically.
Hi, I'm Geneva Turner, the manager of the Phoenicia Playhouse.
And you have a history here.
Yeah, I've performed here many times over the past, 15 years. This place really feels like home to me, like to so many other artists who come and work here. And it's really a huge privilege to start working here during the 50th season.
I think I was in one play here, and it was with you.
Yes, yeah, you were the Foley artist for a World War II Radio Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah, that was such a good show.
Tell me what that transition was like. What is it like to be the director of this playhouse? And is it for the Phoenicia Playhouse or the Shandaken Theatrical Society? And how are those two related?
So the Shandaken Theatrical Society is the organization that started back in 1976. And the Phoenicia Playhouse is the venue. So as the manager of the Playhouse, I report to the board, and I'm a liaison between the board and everyone who works here. I take care of a lot of administrative tasks, promotional stuff like social media, posters.
Tell me a little bit about the day-to-day. What does theater director mean?
I'm still kind of learning that. It changes depending on what show we're doing, right? So a day when we're doing film, there's not a lot of loading in or setting up. It's pretty easy. You lower the screen, you cue up the film. Other times you're doing a more involved production where you have maybe a cast of between, 2 and 30 people, depending on what the show is. I don't have to be here for every event, but I actually consider it a privilege to be able to. So, I just love being present and being available for whoever is doing art here.
Production is really ramped up, I feel, as someone who's been coming to this Playhouse for a long time. You seem to have a lot on the schedule. Can you give me a sense of the breadth of the programming and your seasons or whatever comprises that?
Sure, yeah. When I first started here, I think they did maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 productions a year. That sort of continued for many years. COVID, we hit the brakes. We did a lot of stuff online. I think the first live show we did post-COVID was Our Town out on the porch, the new porch that we built. So the breadth of what we do, my gosh. We have Flying Cat Music. They've been going for many years before us, but for the past 2 years, we've been providing a venue for them, and they've essentially merged with us. So they book international and national artists who come here, award-winning, acclaimed people who are really talented. And so we give them a chance to connect to the Hudson Valley audiences. We do community events like open mic. We're trying to do a community screening of Dog Wedding that occurred in Phoenicia many years ago. And then we do a holiday show every year, which involves people, kids and families from all around who want to participate. We also have kids programming in the summer. We have 2 programs that we've done for a couple of years now. Make a Play, which is about devised theater, and then Music and Songwriting, which is all about giving kids a chance to write music. And then we also have a new program this year, which is Musical Theater Camp, which is a 1-week camp. And it just gives kids a chance to get a sense of how it feels to be in a full production of a musical, even if it's just 30 minutes. It gives them that sense and that experience.
So you have a pretty extensive performance background. Are you still performing, and what do you take from that into this new role?
Yeah, what I bring from that background is an understanding of what these artists go through, the challenges of putting on a production. I've also directed, taught kids summer camps before. All of that experience helps me to be able to put myself in their shoes, anticipate their needs, be thinking about not just sort of the business side of it, which is important, but also about the experience that everyone here is having, because that's super important too. If people have fun here and if they feel welcome here and comfortable working here, that's, a huge goal of mine.
How many people are employed here? Is it just you, or is it mostly volunteer?
It's just me at the moment. We're working on bringing on a technical director as well, and everything else is pretty much volunteer. Or, we offer stipends for certain positions like directing or stage managing, things that require a lot of work. Occasionally, there are opportunities to offer an actor a stipend depending on what show it is. But for the most part, this place runs on the involvement and passion and support of a great group of people. We have people who have been volunteering for Flying Cat for a long time now who are also starting to work on the other shows that we're doing at the Playhouse. Folks who run our concessions counter or greet people at the door, help them out of their cars up to the door. And everyone who is helping to run the show backstage, which includes crew, dressers, wardrobe. We have Marsha Panza, who is like the wizard of costuming everywhere in the Hudson Valley. I don't know how she does it. She just does costumes for every show. And what she provides is really incredible, too. And then we have people who put out our posters and stuff. So we have all different kinds of opportunities to volunteer.
Geneva's role as Playhouse manager isn't volunteer, but it is part-time. To fill in the gaps, they pursue work in two unusual avenues of performance.
So I'm also a standardized patient, which means that I pretend to have an illness or injury and practice with medical students. So, it gives them a chance to ask health history questions or diagnostic questions or practice performing non-invasive physical exams. So that's really rewarding work. I do that at several medical colleges. I kind of travel around a little bit for that. And then I also am an intimacy coordinator or intimacy director, depending on if I'm working in film or theater. So that means that I'll work with actors who are doing scenes that involve any kind of intimate contact. It could be romantic or sexual, or it could be, families hugging each other, or it could be a caregiver giving a bath to somebody who can't bathe themselves. So there's lots of different contexts in which an intimacy coordinator or intimacy director can help support actors in the process of blocking very sensitive material.
Yeah, it used to be anything goes, right? But we always had stunt coordinators, but intimacy coordinators have come onto the scene a little bit more recently.
Exactly, yeah. And thinking about that, that's a good comparison because with stunt coordinators, they're brought on because there's the risk of somebody getting harmed. And that's certainly not the case with every scene involving intimacy, but it's just helpful to have somebody there so that everyone knows that if something is feeling uncomfortable, somebody is there who can help them navigate that. But mostly, I just sort of work as a support in terms of choreography. Maybe there's something that the director wants to convey that isn't coming across, or the actors aren't feeling it, or something where it feels a little bit awkward and they don't know how to fix it. And so that's where an intimacy director can come in and say, well, what if we just slightly change the position, or change how you're sharing weight, or something like that can make a huge difference.
I wish I knew you in high school.
Me too.
Well, enough about that. Let's head upstairs to costumes and prop storage, where I spoke with Faye Storms, Playhouse board member and a longtime player with the Shandaken Theatrical Society.
Hi, I'm Faye Storms. I live here full-time. I've been here since 1979, originally from the city. My husband was a photographer, and we had studios in L.A. and in New York, and we commuted between the cities and here, and then location as well. So we didn't spend a lot of time up here the first 10 years or so, and then we spent more time, and then we decided that we really, really loved it.
So you came up here 3 years after Shandaken Theatrical Society began, I think.
Yeah, it actually started in 1976, and they were a troupe of wonderful actors, local people, but very talented, and it's kind of like a social thing, first. And then they created wonderful shows, which I wasn't a part of because that was before I started going into the shows. They then ended up purchasing the building in 1998. In 1980, it was about ready to be torn down because it was in such disrepair. And every year that I have been involved in this theater, whether it was acting or singing or being behind the stage or now on the board, there was always some repair that had to be done.
And now you're a board member for how long?
I'm a board member, I think it's about 3 years now, but I was a board member before also. So I've been in and out of it because I've been on many different boards too. And so I have to divide my time purposely, for wherever I'm focused at the moment. I've been an associate broker, real estate person for 20 years now. And I started with my husband an antique store in 1979, which, believe it or not, I think that's about 47 years now. I can't even say that because it seems like I'm so old. And my son, the reason I started doing the shows was because he was young and he liked doing the shows, and I did them with him, and it was a way to do a family thing.
Do you remember what your first show was?
I think it was Once Upon a Mattress. I do remember the most intense show, the most unbelievable show was Cabaret. It was sold out after the second night. And there was basically men clamoring at the ticket counter to get tickets because this was kind of a risque show in this area. All the girls were good looking and they were in lingerie. And I just remember them pounding on the ticket booth, "Can't I get a ticket? Can't I get a ticket?" And I just thought, oh my God, that's amazing. But it was so much fun. And it was also about 100 degrees, and we had no air conditioning. So it was a good thing we were all kind of dressed very scantily. But Dennis Metnick, who was an attorney in Margaretville, he was our director. And he pushed us and pushed us, but that show, so many people said we enjoyed that just as much as if we were in Broadway. It was so good.
Did you have any acting experience when you started acting here?
I did acting in the city, but just very casually. I did modeling for Face, for magazine covers, True Confessions, True Romance, all those. So I kind of knew how to express myself and be. I'm more of a past show person because my life has gotten so busy that it's too hard for me to devote the time you have to devote to really do a good show and the rehearsal schedule. I feel comfortable now just being on the board and enjoying what the theater is doing and what we're trying to do for it.
Well, so many of the performers have other careers and lives, and so this is just a part of what they do in the community. I think I got the biggest sense of that on one of the last plays I saw when one of the lead actors ran into the dressing room after the play ended and got into his police uniform because he was about to start his shift.
That's typical. That's totally typical. We were all local community members, and we're all just doing something that we love to do. And if you can put the time in to do it, it's golden for you. And so, yeah, everyone's just local and a community member. That's what community theater is all about.
So tell me a little bit more about the history of this place. As far as you know, you've been up here for a while, but the building goes back much, much further. So what can you tell us?
It was built in 1887, and it was built for the Independent Order of Odd Fellows.
A sign on the front gable of the Phoenicia Playhouse attests to that history. It reads IOOF 1887 and displays a 3-link chain, a symbol for the Independent Order of Odd Fellows. This fraternal organization was established in 1819 with a core mission of friendship, love, truth, and practical charitable assistance. It was the first U.S. fraternity to admit both men and women. They're called Rebeccas, and counts among its members Ulysses S. Grant, FDR, and Charlie Chaplin. The organization is still alive and well, with more than 3,000 lodges, just not in Phoenicia.
Then it was an auction house, and it was a movie theater as well.
Recently, I talked to Wade Baker about that theater. His family moved up in 1973, and he recounts how his parents would drop off the kids for a show and a slice of pizza.
So one of the things that my parents would do back then is they'd just drop us off at the theater. The Phoenicia Movie Theater is what they called it then. and we'd go see a movie. I think that's where I saw Jaws and other old classic movies there. And then they would drop us off and they'd say, when the movie's over, go to Brio's, use the payphone, give us a call, and we'll pick you up. And we'd have a slice of pizza over there. So, I don't know, it was like sometime last year at the Phoenicia Playhouse, they were playing an old movie, Witches of Eastwick. And I had my kids come up. I said, let's go see a movie on this big screen, an old movie, because they liked that one growing up. And then after the movie, we went over to Brio's to get a slice of pizza. So it was like I was reliving my childhood, but I also had my kids with me, who are grown adults now. And I was like, this is what I was doing when I was, 10 years old.
And then it just slowly went into decline, and then in the 1980s, they were talking about demolishing it because it was just becoming an eyesore. And so that's when people started to really feel that it was a very important thing to keep in the community for us. So people started to get involved in trying to do something. And now this group of people, this board is very proactive about doing something. And we have really been spending serious time, serious meetings in figuring out how we're going to make this a better theater, how we're going to improve the building, how are we going to get the money to do it, community outreach, et cetera, et cetera. So right now we're pushing to do just an outreach to the community in a way that we just want them to know what we're doing. We want them to feel good about the theater. We want them to come to the theater and understand how good the quality is of every single production. It's excellent quality, and for the price of the ticket, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous how inexpensive it is. And then we're probably going to push to do some kind of fundraiser too. But I think the main thing is we're just pushing to let people understand that we have amazing productions here.
How have you seen this theater change since you've been involved?
I kind of got involved in the 1990s, early 90s. And kind of what's interesting to me is I've watched little kids grow up to adults, just like you were speaking to Geneva. First time on the stage, this is fantastic. And then they get so into it, they want to be in every production. So I've seen that happen over and over. Also, I've seen very shy, awkward people. They don't even have to be children. They can be adults. They come into the theater and they get a little tiny part, and all of a sudden, the next show they do is bigger. And then before you know it, they're growing into being a real actor or a real singer. And you could see they're opening up completely. And the theater does that for people. It gives them confidence that they didn't have before.
As a longtime realtor in this town, is this one of the highlights on your tour? One of the selling points for this town?
Well, I like to include it because I say, we have live theater here. What small little town of less than 3,000 people has live theater? That along with a live police force and an ambulance service in a little town, that's kind of amazing.
Do you see yourself continuing to be involved with this theater as you get older and into retirement years and all of that? And I guess what are your hopes and dreams for this place?
Well, I think it's going to grow, into a beautiful building with time and effort. We've certainly got a fantastic board that's very on board with the whole thing. So, I see me always, as long as I live in the area, being a part of it, because I love theater. I mean, I'd love to perform. I just don't have the time right now. And the quality of the actors that come in is so good that, I don't feel like I have to at all try to jump in there and kind of make it better, because I don't need to. I'll probably make it worse.
On my way out of the theater, I found George Muller on the wraparound porch, taking a break from tech rehearsal. He's the technical director and, in many ways, the backbone of this theater. And a bit of an odd fellow in his own right, in the best possible way.
All right, George, could you please introduce yourself for our listening audience?
Well, hello. My name is George Muller, and I'm the technical director for the Phoenicia Playhouse here in lovely downtown Phoenicia.
And have been for some time.
For a long time. I've been in this business for a very long time, and I have all the T-shirts.
what was your career and how did it lead you here ultimately?
Well, strangely enough, I started in experimental urban theater in the 70s at a place called Theater Center in Philadelphia. We were junior Marxists, all of us. You were considered to be ideologically suspect if you used any color but black and white or put any kind of gel into a lighting instrument. And it was fun. I went from there to working for Electric Factory. I was a rock and roll stagehand. And did that through the 80s. Did Live Aid. We strung 6 miles of 4/0 feeder cable at that show. I guess towards the end of the 80s, I dropped out of that and started production stage manager for touring bus and truck Broadway shows. And then retired from the road in the mid-90s. And came back to Philadelphia. Somebody spotted an ad and recommended that I apply for it. And it was like, the Philadelphia Orchestra is looking for an operations person. And it's like, I'm a rock and roll guy. They're never going to hire me. Well, I went in, and it turns out, logistics are logistics. You're getting what you need, where you need it at a certain time. And it's the same whether you're doing Norwegian death metal or the Philadelphia Orchestra. And then when they had their Title J bankruptcy, I stayed with the Pops instead of the orchestra. Became a vice president of Encore Series Incorporated and senior director of blah. The typical nonprofit. They're short on pay and very, very long on titles. And retired from that finally in 2016, came up here, and I guess 2017, 2018 is when I started working here, and I've been here ever since.
Is it a volunteer position?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, it's like beyond volunteering. You actually wind up like, we are a giving board. So I'm on the board, so I contribute and donate to the theater. So I'm actually in a negative income stream.
So, it's an obvious question, but maybe not. Why do you do it?
I think a lot of it is paying back. I was very, very lucky. So back in the 60s, nobody ever told you could make a living doing technical theater. Had to find that out for myself. And theater is interesting in the fact that it accepts you for what you can do and what you are doing today. It's like the next day you're back to zero. But, it's what you can do and how well you can do it. Now I'd like to think that, that I'm retired and all that. I'm sort of like putting it back, giving back, trying to explain the basis of sound and light, and rigging and that to young people, and also trying to provide a venue, a stage for artists that may have no idea of how the lights and sound and everything else work. But they have a concept that they want to bring out, and we definitely very seriously here take the idea of we are the community stage. If you have something that you want to get done, talk to us. We're very easy to deal with, usually.
What have been some of your favorite productions?
Here I would say, I love the Flying Cat musical series that we're doing. There's some great acts there. I like the fact that we're branching out into some like socially conscious stuff like Fun Home. I really like the open stages when we do open mic nights because it's it's absolute anarchy. No one knows what's going to happen next. It's like, and I keep advising people, it's like, just stay cool and get ready to change on a dime. And the bottom line is, if you hear something go wrong, you're probably the only person in the room that caught it. They all think it's supposed to do that.
What can you say about the mix of talent that come through these doors?
Well, that is an interesting point, I think, that because we have some incredibly talented directors and actors, and then we have some people that are just starting out. And I think the beauty of this place is there's something for everybody. I've seen kids that came to us in our theater camps coming back and starting out as like, flying monkeys in The Wizard of Oz. And that's their start. I mean, they started their whole experience to theater on that stage. Now they're doing their first actual role on that stage. And hopefully they'll come back when they've made a name for themselves and help us raise money on that stage.
How often are you here? It seems like all the time. Every time I come here, you're here.
My question to myself is like, why the hell am I paying taxes? I could just sling a hammock in the back of the theater and I'll be fine. But yeah, I'm here. Well, once again, as we progress and as we replace systems and as we educate and work with people on how to operate those systems, I can move closer and closer to my goal of becoming the gray eminence that hardly ever gets off his fat duff. Haven't reached that point yet, but it's good to have a goal.
Anything you want to say about the 50th anniversary as a board member and someone who's been here for quite a few of those years by this point?
Well, we've always sort of had a special relationship with the community, and Phoenicia is a very, very community-oriented town. I mean, the library is a hub of services for children and and adults and aging adults, and there's food banks here, and it's a very involved community, and I'm glad that we're a part of that. And 50 years ago, we did Sound of Music, and this year we're thinking of doing Sound of Music as a sing-along movie to sort of like, celebrate that. But we've come a long way. We've definitely evolved into a much more diverse. It used to be we did pretty much musicals and that was it. Now we do musicals. We're doing 3 of them this season, which is actually a little masochistic, but we're doing musicals, we're doing comedies, we're doing drama, we're doing open mics, we're doing a singer-songwriter concert series of 9 shows with Flying Cat. We're doing a couple of ones that is just the Phoenicia Playhouse presenting musical acts, and we're doing movies more frequently now. And so it's really branching out. There's a little something for everybody here. And if nothing else, if you want to see what it's like to do theater, come on down sometime. We have volunteers. We are always looking for volunteers. And sometimes it's just greeting people and selling cookies and popcorn. Other times it's like painting sets, painting decks. We do a lot of painting things black because we're a theater and that's what theaters do. So, everyone's invited. You're all welcome here. We'll find something messy for you to do. Someone once said, it's like, you can sell a man a theater ticket and he'll be poor for one day, but you can teach him to do theater and he'll be poor forever.
Find out more at PhoeniciaPlayhouse.com. Catscast is a production of Silver Hollow Audio. Always free, every 2 weeks, with a weekly radio encore on WJFF Radio Catskill, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Transcription by Jerome Kozlowskis. Episodes and transcripts are tagged and fully searchable at catscast.com. And a quick follow or rating on your podcast app makes a real difference in helping the show reach new ears. If you'd like to join us as a member listener, you can sign up at catscast.com/support. And if you'd like to partner with us at an organizational level, you can reach me directly through the contact form on our website. I'm Brett Barry. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.